Welcome to the module on plastics in the environment. Plastics are resilient materials. They are persistent pollutants covering the ocean surface and overflowing in landfills all around us. Here in this module, we will take a look at the impact plastics make on the environment and whether we can ever replace them. We will also take a look at the various classes of degradable plastics that are now available to us. Plastics pervade our lives. We need plastics. They are valuable to us in all fields and have been part of the progress that we have made. But we have become addicted to single-use or disposable plastics, which have severe environmental consequences. Around the world, 1 million plastic drinking bottles are purchased every minute, while 5 trillion single-use plastic bags are used worldwide every year. Nearly half of all the plastic that is produced is designed to be used only once and then thrown away. From the 1950s to 70s, when the era of polymers just began, the amount of plastic produced was small, and so the waste generated was much more manageable. By the 1990s, plastic production tripled, and so did the waste generated from it. Now we produce nearly 300 to 400 million tons of plastic every day, from which most of it accumulates into landfills or dumps or into the natural environment. Greenhouse gas emissions from the plastic life cycle threaten the ability to keep our global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Rivers carry this plastic waste from deep inside the land into the sea, making them major contributors to ocean pollution. Nearly 8 million tons of plastic ends up in the world's oceans every year. Among the rivers in India, Meghna, Brahmaputra and Ganga are some of the major contributors to the plastics that enters the oceans, which is a combined total of nearly 72,845 tons from these 3 rivers alone. Plastics contain and leach hazardous chemicals, causing risks to wildlife and people. Exposure to some of the toxic chemicals that come from these plastics can lead to cancers, birth defects, impaired immunity, and other health problems. Taking a look at a 2015 graph of global plastic production, we can see that the world produces more than 400 million tons of plastic every year. And only 9% of plastics that are ever produced go for recycling. The largest industrial sector amongst all of these is the one that comprises of the single-use materials that are used for packaging purposes. Taking a look at the world's oceans and how they have been infested with plastic, of the 9 billion tons of plastic ever made, 165 million tons is already in the ocean, and we are pushing around 9 million more tons every year. Scientists estimate that if we continue in the same manner, the mass of plastics in the ocean will soon be more than the mass of fish by 2050. This waste becomes the cause of the death of marine species and birds and fishes because they ingest them, and this poses a serious environmental problem. We also have other environmental problems, such as huge islands of garbage in many places. Millions of animals are killed by plastics every year, which includes endangered birds and sea animals. Nearly every species of seabirds eats plastics. Many of these animals die from entanglement from abandoned fishing gear. Microplastics, as in the case of the albatross in the picture, have been found in more than 100 aquatic species. In many cases, these tiny bits of plastic pass through the digestive system and get expelled out without any change. But in many places, they have been found to have blocked digestive tracts or pierced organs, causing death. Stomachs get so packed with plastic that it reduces the urge to eat, causing death by starvation. Plastics have not been only consumed by marine species but are also used up by land-based animals including elephants, hyenas, zebras, and other larger mammals, and in several cases causing death. Most plastic items that enter the environment never fully disappear. They just get smaller and smaller in size. Many of these plastic particles are the ones that get swallowed by animals and birds who mistake them for food. These particles have also been found in a majority of the world's tap water. Once they are exposed to the environment, sunlight, wind, and wave action break down this plastic waste into smaller particles, and these particles, called as microplastics, are spread throughout the globe and have been found even in areas of the world that are largely uninhabited, from the Mount Everest to the Mariana Trench. Microplastics break down further into smaller and smaller pieces. Some of these have been found in municipal drinking water supplies, and they've been found to be drifting through the air. On the basis of size, plastics can be classified into two different groups. Macroplastics are plastics that are higher than 20 millimeters in diameter, whereas microplastics are those that are less than 5 millimeters in diameter. Out of these microplastics, we have another two kinds: primary microplastics. These are the ones that are deliberately or by design synthesized in that size. Secondary microplastics are the plastics that are formed from degradation of macroplastics. Fragmentation of these bigger plastics causes them to form into these smaller sizes. The polymers that we use as plastics were designed to be durable and stable. They have been made difficult to break down. This is a graph of plastics that are recycled. The amount of plastics that are generated versus the percentage of them that are recycled, and PET and high density polyethylene show some level of recycling, although polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, polypropylene are much lower in the amount that gets recycled every year. Some facts about recycling of plastics. All plastics cannot be recycled. Just because a plastic has the recycling sign does not mean it will actually get recycled. Amongst these, items that are made up of a single material are easier to recycle, and therefore water bottles which are made up of 100% PET plastic get recycled more than all other plastics put together. Coffee cups are made up of paper on the outside with a thin layer of plastic inside. Materials like these cannot be recycled unless they have been separated into the two products, and that cannot be done unless and until it is carried out with the help of specialized machines. Another fact is that only clean plastics can be recycled. Plastics with food residue cannot be recycled. And most recycling industries might consider it unprofitable to clean it before recycling, and therefore it all lands up into the landfill. Also, when we dispose of different types of plastic together, then the mixing of them causes them to become impossible to recycle. Recycling of plastics also downgrades its quality, and therefore no plastic is recycled more than twice or thrice. Growing ecological awareness has caused people to become aware of their environmental footprint, and therefore bioplastics are often claimed to be a solution to our problems with plastics. They are mentioned to reduce the problems of plastic waste. Very often the term bioplastics is a misleading term because it is used interchangeably for different things. Bioplastics are generally not just one single substance but comprise of a whole family of materials with different properties and applications. According to European bioplastics, a plastic material can be defined as bioplastic if it is either bio-based in its origin or biodegradable, or if it features both properties. Bio-based material means that the material is partly derived from biomass or plants. Biomass used for bioplastics is usually corn, sugarcane, or cellulose, whereas biodegradable is a term that is used for a chemical process during which microorganisms in the environment convert materials into natural substances such as water, carbon dioxide, and compost. The process of biodegradation depends on the surrounding environmental conditions, on the material itself, and on its applications. Let's look at the different types of degradable plastics that are available in the market. There are roughly three kinds of degradable plastics: oxo-degradable, photodegradable, and biodegradable. Although the term biodegradable is a slightly ambiguous term if it does not specify the environment and time needed for biodegradation. It is misleading to say that a product is biodegradable without mentioning any standard specific conditions under which this biodegradation may happen. If a material is to be claimed as a biodegradable material, then it should have further information on the time frame required for degradation, the required surrounding conditions that would be required for this degradation to happen. Oxo-degradable plastics, very often misleadingly called as oxo-biodegradable even though they are not biodegradable plastics, are conventional polymers such as low-density polyethylene, to which chemicals have been added to accelerate the oxidation process. These first undergo fragmentation under the action of UV light and heat and oxygen. This oxidation process further enables a faster conversion of polymers into tinier fragments that should then accelerate the process of biodegradation. The biodegradation process depends upon multiple criteria, including the fragment size, the quantity of additives that have been added to it, and the environmental conditions to which this material has been subjected, for example, humidity and temperature. These are made from traditional polymers. Very often, oxo-degradable plastics hamper composting and recycling. They require the presence of oxygen for degradation, but if they end up in landfills, when they are part of the garbage within the landfill somewhere deeper, there is no access to oxygen. The European Union has banned single-use plastics, known as the Single-Use Plastic Directive, which will come into force from 2021, and this includes a ban on oxo-degradable plastics. Photodegradable materials or photodegradable plastics are materials that are made up of standard conventional plastics such as polyethylene, polypropylene, or PET. They have some special additives also added to them. These additives are catalytic materials which help the products to biodegrade in a two-step process. There are two ways to make plastics photodegradable. The first one involves having functional groups like carbonyl groups within the structure of the polymer, which absorbs UV radiation and traps enough energy to rupture surrounding bonds, thereby causing breaking of the polymer chain into smaller fragments. The other way of doing it is by adding a small chemical additive known as a prodegradant. The sunlight makes this compound more reactive and it attacks the polymer chains the plastic is made up of. When a photon of light hits a molecule of the added substance, this molecule absorbs the energy of the sunlight and causes the bonds in the polymer to break. The chains start to become brittle and the plastics fall apart. Photodegradable plastics tend to break down into smaller particles of plastic rather than decompose completely into harmless smaller molecules that can be absorbed by the soil. The idea is that these small pieces will degrade, but unfortunately they don't often biodegrade and remain in the environment. If photodegradable plastics end up in a landfill site, they end up getting buried into a darker place deeper inside, and under these conditions There is no access to light and photodegradation cannot take place. Also, if other plastics are mixed with photodegradable plastics during the recycling process, then the chemicals added into it to cause photodegradation might cause degradation of these newer formed materials which weren't intended to undergo photodegradation. Both oxo and photodegradable plastics are considered an environmental problem because they give rise to microplastics. Very often, the additives that have been added to cause this breakdown are harmful to the soil, and that also adds to the environmental problem. Biodegradable polymers or biodegradable plastics are the compounds that are made either from crude oil or from plant-based products. But biodegradable implies that it is capable of being decomposed by bacteria or other living organisms. Biodegradable plastics can be broken down completely into water, carbon dioxide, and compost by microorganisms if they get the right conditions. How long a biodegradable item will take to break down depends upon the factors such as temperature, humidity, and the environment. Biodegradation is a collective term for a natural chemical process in which materials will be transformed into natural substances with the help of microorganisms. Biodegradation can occur in different environments and under varying conditions, whether absence or presence of oxygen, bacteria, fungi, and at different levels of influencing factors such as temperature, humidity, and time frame. In order to be able to make a substantial claim on the biodegradability of a material, all these different factors need to be taken into consideration. Compostable plastics are a subset of biodegradable plastics, defined by the standard conditions and time frame under which they can undergo biodegradation. All compostable plastics are biodegradable, but not all biodegradable plastics would be considered compostable. Compostability is biodegradability under controlled conditions in a specified time period. Compostable products can only decompose if they are sent to a special facility where the temperature and humidity is specially controlled. Without these elements, especially when it is discarded into a landfill, compostable products undergo anaerobic oxidation, giving off methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. Composting systems to be used at home and some other commercial composting systems do not have the high temperature that are required to begin breaking down these materials, and therefore compostable products cannot be put into these kinds of units. While biodegradable items refer to just any material that can break down and decompose into the environment, compostable goods are specifically organic matter which breaks down, and the end product is expected to have beneficial uses such as fertilizing and improving soil health. Compostable items do not leave toxic residues behind, but some biodegradable products can take several years to break down, unlike compostable items, and sometimes they may even leave toxic waste behind. Certified compostable products have a timeline of 30 to 90 days, whereas biodegradable plastics do not have a specified time frame for degradation. They could even take decades to degrade. Bio-based plastics may be made wholly or partially from renewable biological resources. Bioplastics are divided into three main classes: bio-based products, which are non-biodegradable. Secondly, plastics that are both bio-based as well as biodegradable. And the third group is of plastics that are based on fossil fuel resources and are also biodegradable. The first category of compounds, the non-biodegradable bioplastics, may be 100% bio-based plastics or partially bio-based plastics. There has been evidence that says that producing plastics from plants instead of fossil fuel has a smaller negative environmental impact than when they are made from crude oil. Making plastics from biological sources could help to end our dependence on fossil fuel. But these compounds are otherwise the same in terms of their property and functionality as the polyethylene or polypropylene obtained from fossil fuel resources. It is also estimated that currently bio-based plastics use very little of the agricultural land because they are not very commonly used yet. And so there is no real competition with food and food production. But with growing bioplastic markets, increase in these plastics could raise the pressure on cultivable land. It could lead to problems of use of pesticides, water shortages, and the loss of habitats and biodiversity because the land would be used to produce feedstock for making these plastics. Plastics that are both bio-based and biodegradable are currently of two main types, PLA or polylactic acid and PHA, which is polyhydroxyalkanoate. Polylactic acid is usually made from the sugars available from cornstarch or sugarcane. It is a biodegradable product and it is also edible. The starch that comes from these sources is separated from the rest of the material after breaking it down, and then it is polymerized to give polylactic acid. Polylactic acid is biodegradable and has characteristics similar to polypropylene and polyethylene. It can be produced from already existing manufacturing equipment that are used for making petrochemical-based plastics, which makes it cost-efficient and cost-effective to produce. Polylactic acid is biocompatible, and so it has uses in making medical implants. It is also used in 3D printing. Polylactic acid is also used for making cups, straws, and other food packaging materials. In terms of biodegradation, polylactic acid needs industrial composting facilities, which includes temperatures of more than 58 degrees Celsius. Therefore, all the polylactic acid that is used needs to be properly managed and sent to a recycling facility. Under the right circumstances, it can be broken down into carbon dioxide and water within a couple of weeks. But if it enters a landfill, then it does not degrade, and it also gives out emissions of methane. When pure polylactic acid ends up in marine environments, it does not biodegrade at all. Polyhydroxyalkanoates are polyesters produced by fermenting raw vegetable materials with different bacterial strains. PHAs are made by microorganisms. Sometimes they may be genetically engineered microorganisms that can produce plastic from organic materials. Polyhydroxyalkanoates are polyesters that are derived from bacterial fermentation. Microorganisms synthesize polyesters in nutrient-deficient conditions, and these can then be harvested. Polyhydroxyalkanoates are both bio-based as well as biodegradable. They are water-insoluble, biocompatible, non-toxic compounds. Due to their biocompatibility, they find applications in medical implants, medical prosthesis, sutures. They are non-toxic, so they can be also used for food manufacturing. Besides that, they have also been used for making toys, and now they are also being used in the world of fashion for making biodegradable bags and clothes. The third category of bioplastics is fossil fuel based compounds that can degrade under normal conditions. This group of bioplastics includes those that are made from fossil fuels and include products such as polybutyrate adipate, abbreviated as PBAT, and polycaprolactone. These are fully biodegradable under current composting conditions, and their properties are similar to low-density polyethylene, which is why, because of their elasticity and flexibility, they can be used for making products such as bags, wraps, and other packaging materials. They are also particularly suited to making garbage bags or disposable packaging, and they are favored because of their ability to decompose in compost within several weeks. While the biodegradability of bioplastics is an advantage, many of them need high temperature industrial composting facilities to break down, and not all places have the infrastructure that is needed to deal with them. Therefore, most bioplastics end up in landfills where, after being deprived of oxygen, they release methane, a greenhouse gas that is much more potent than carbon dioxide. Bioplastics are therefore not yet really considered more environmentally friendly than traditional plastics when all aspects of their entire life cycle are considered. But as researchers currently move to developing greener varieties, and if production of plastics becomes more efficient, bioplastics hold promise to help lessen plastic pollution and reduce our carbon footprint. In 2016, scientists from Japan found Ideonella sakaiensis, a bacterium which is capable of breaking down and consuming the plastic PET or polyethylene terephthalate. It uses an enzyme which was named as PETase, and scientists have further introduced a mutation to this PETase enzyme to produce a new type of enzyme that can digest PET plastics even more efficiently than the enzyme within the bacterium. German researchers have identified a strain of Pseudomonas bacterium that can break down polyurethane. Another breakthrough in the biodegradation of plastics is the discovery of some European researchers of worms, wax worms that live in beehives and eat wax. They are capable of also eating polyethylene and breaking it down to give ethylene glycol. Scientists intend to use these to find ways to degrade the plastics polluting the environment everywhere. Besides that, there are other promising alternatives. A company in California has made PHA from organic waste such as food waste, stalks, garden waste, and paper, and that is used to make bags, containers, cutlery, and packaging bottles. This bioplastic is compostable and marine degradable. Similarly, there's another group of scientists who are making bioplastics through the use of cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria can be used to feed the microbes that create the bioplastic. There are other scientists who are transforming methane gas from wastewater treatment plants to convert them into bioplastic. This methane is fed to plastic producing bacteria that can transform the methane into PHA, which is used for making plastic cups and bottles. The Center for Sustainable Technologies in England is making polycarbonate using sugar and carbon dioxide. This is used for making bottles, lenses, and coatings for phones and DVDs. Soil bacteria can break down this polycarbonate back to carbon dioxide and sugar. So in spite of the problems associated with plastics, life without plastic cannot be imagined. All modern technology depends upon plastics. Innovations in medical care have been possible because of plastics. You have artificial polyester veins, silicone implants, and these PVC blood bags have been able to replace the breakable glass vessels that were previously used for blood transfusions. Modern cars are approximately 50% plastics by volume. Plastics are increasingly used in aerospace applications. Insulation on electric wiring is plastics. Plastic composites are used all over in all fields. Scientists have even developed a new recyclable plastic called polydiketoenamine or PDKs. Unlike other plastics that cannot be recycled more than twice or thrice, these PDK plastics can be recycled many times without having a loss in performance or their aesthetic value. PDKs are easy to make. They can be separated into their monomers very easily, and they can also be separated from their additives that have been added. Most plastics cannot be recycled due to the presence of additives such as plasticizers and fillers, but PDCs are considered to be a circular material because they are infinitely recyclable. All these innovations may not be an immediate solution to our problems, but they are certainly a beginning to a big change. But a change in our behavior towards the use and disposal of plastics can help in bringing change. Just because we have better alternatives coming up does not make it an excuse to litter. Refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle, because every little bit matters. Thank you.